welcome to another video, day 24 of Gobtober, and I thought I'd just show you a quick look at my setup. It's not very complicated. There's my tools, my pens and pencils, the dice that I roll, various stuff. I work on a piece of plywood, a little fish drawing painting I have on my desk, and then my camera setup, which is on this really handy arm, which I can adjust, and that's how I film everything, and then a light for when it's a little bit too dark. But there you go, that's my setup. Not very complicated, but always good to see. Right, let's see what we rolled today. So got dice, got the prompts. We rolled 26, so 26 is lich. Okay, that's quite exciting. Let's see what we do for a lich. Okay, so this is another kind of quite exciting character, so I kind of wanted to do a flaming skull. Kind of liches are kind of like undead wizards, sort of, who are looking for immortality. So I kind of thought we'll do him with a book, and maybe he's feeling threatened. Maybe the witch or something is bothering him, and I wanted to give him wings. Kind of think wings make him kind of stand out against everything else. So yeah, he's not super complicated, but he will end up taking quite a bit of space up down at the bottom, I think. So yeah, just inking him in. So yeah, if you were going to face him in a dungeon, he would probably be quite a big threat. So probably not something you want to go in alone to fight. But yeah, you know, he kind of fits. I think he'll be a real standout when I add the colour, you know, when I do some effects on that flame. And yeah, kind of having him quite dark near the top of his clothes, and then kind of fading down into maybe a pure kind of ghostly kind of effect. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I've given myself room to do it, and then just putting the bits in the background. But yeah, another nice good one today. Let's see what we get for Gobtober. So Gobtober's prompt today is dragon. Okay, let's see what I did last year. So I think this was a really fun one last year. I basically crossed a dragon with a goblin, and we got something like this. It looks a bit like a kobold, I suppose, but still quite good fun. So I'm going to continue that theme. So normally I do kind of a fat skeleton, but like when I'm doing something that doesn't have a neck, I tend to do like a big peanut. And anytime I do any kind of dragon, kind of looks like a dog to begin with, and that's okay. And I sort of roughly plan out where the legs are going to go. I do change my mind on this a little bit later, but I kind of like that fat tail, and I want this guy to be breathing fire, so he's kind of got his arms up and he's really kind of putting a lot of effort into it. Like maybe breathing fire is pretty tough for this guy. So yeah, that's the plan. So this guy had quite a lot of detail in him, and it was really just a case of making sure I got everything where it's supposed to be, and getting the fire kind of mapped in there. Big sharp teeth, because he is part dragon after all. He should be quite intimidating, and that was sort of what I was going with. Big nostrils and tiny kind of eyes with kind of that weird kind of cat's eye kind of effect in him, just to make him look a little bit out of the ordinary. And then it's just a case of filling in folds where his snout maybe crinkles up, and adding in just a little bit of tone and texture, a couple of warts, get those sharp teeth in there. That's really important. And normally I would do the mouth quite dark, but because he's breathing fire, I needed it to be quite light, so had to be quite careful with the shading inside his mouth when I get to that. But yeah, you know, I do like this guy. I kind of think he's a bit of an improvement over last year. Kind of like that he's a bit more active in what he's doing. But yeah, you know, sometimes it's a bit of a gamble doing it this way. Just getting the fire in there, and his horns. I changed his horns. I made his horns a bit more interesting. Took me a second for my brain to figure out how that back horn would look, and might still not be right, but I think it works. And then sort of fading everything else in, getting the details in now, and that's it. Some brilliant stuff popping up on Instagram. I am absolutely loving all the weird things that I'm seeing, and some of the really detailed work as well. And yeah, and some people who have reached out and said, yeah, I struggle with drawing, but this has really helped. That's fantastic to hear. You know, that's why we do these challenges, is to challenge us and trying to improve in what we're doing something a little bit outside our comfort zone, trying new things. So very pleased to hear that. If you do want to follow along, you can download the prompt from oddartworks.com, as well as all sorts of other prompts and maps and all sorts of stuff. So go check that out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Right, back to this. I kind of gave him this weird little waistcoat just to try and make him look a bit more sentient rather than just like a monster. But yeah, you know, I'm really pleased with kind of the way it works. I think having the scales on his back and kind of a relatively undetailed belly kind of works really well. I will remember to move the camera down in a minute, I am sure. There we go. And then just having those scales follow the direction of the tail. That was the plan. And then the wing, the signature, and you can see I've changed the legs ever so slightly. I've moved one of them down just to make it a bit more dynamic. And then the big fat smelly pen just coming out to add a little bit more darkness, you know, to the wing. I don't think the wing needed any detail. And then kind of a bit more shadow underneath that jacket and his arm, and just a touch on his face, and then lots of shadow on the legs. So I've gone through this weird phase of colouring the legs in all dark, and I kind of really like it. I don't know why I like it, but I do. I think it works quite well, so we'll probably continue to do this for a little while. But yeah, you know, I think that's something I've learned. I think it makes the rest of him stand out pretty well. Like he's sort of, it makes it seem quite dynamic. But yeah, anyway, just about done with this. Just the last few little bits of shadow going in now. Hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe and share. And yeah, big thanks to my patrons. Couldn't do these videos without you. And as always, folks, I will see you tomorrow. Take it easy now. Bye.